Welcome.
Wait. Make sure you use the safe word, okay?
Yellow. Yellow and red is our safe word? I always thought it was like tangerine or something.
No, it's always sarsaparilla. That's always
Fidelio.
Fidelio. Oh, welcome to another episode of Season 5 of 3.5 Gentlemen, the podcast, where 3 of the 4 hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections. Well, maybe this one's not in our private collection.
Eddie's.
Well, one of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and with me, as always, in the Red Room of Pain are my co-hosts, Jeremiah.
So the lion fell in love with the lamb. Oh, I'm sorry. That's another movie I thought we were watching, the Twilight series.
Oh my God, I got such vibes. Anyway, I'm sorry. Eddie?
Laters, baby.
Oh God, this movie's terrible. And Brandon.
I would like to fuck you into the middle of next week.
You couldn't even finish it, dude.
God, this movie's fucking terrible. Ed, please.
We got a lot of. This is gonna be fun. I'm hoping to curve you guys down a little bit. With season 5, we've been changing things up a bit. We've been picking movies that we think would be fun to talk about or trash about. But for this season, we've been playing a loose version of 6 Degrees, where each host chooses their film based off the previous one, as long as the movie shares an actor, actress, composer, director, or writer.
As with every review we give, our goal is to answer one simple question. How many drinks does it take to get through the film that we just watched? At the end of the podcast, we'll rate the movie based on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 being a perfect film that you can watch stone cold sober, and 5 being sort of the film that makes you feel like you're being spanked in a sex dungeon while you're wearing latex suits. Unless you're into that kind of thing, which
At which point, that would be a 0 film.
dirty.
But I don't think that many
Sounds like
people
Skin
like
Max.
that much.
This is my playroom, like Xbox.
Oh, God.
Like Xbox?
Jesus.
Oh my God. Well, sort of.
Listen.
Brandon, go.
Last week, I took us to a sketchy hotel on the border of California and Nevada with bad times at the El Royale, which seems like a much better movie, Jer. Doesn't it, this week? It's a much better movie.
Oh, that's Casablanca
That
shit
is-
compared to this.
Bring on AFI list, right? And since Eddie has the next pick, Ed, you get to tell us what movie we've got thrusting its way toward us tonight.
Why? Okay.
Dirty.
So, guys, I picked Dakota Johnson, and I fumbled.
Yeah, you did,
It was
bad boy.
a fumble. It was a fumble roosty. So,
No way.
So I chose 50 Shades of Grey because Brandon, he said he whispered in my ear, I want to watch this secretly with my wife. And that's what, I really chose this movie because honestly, I was intrigued with how much money this movie made. Realistically, that I was like, how did this franchise make so much money? And I was like, okay, was it? I mean, I remember watching this in theaters, and I regret every moment of it. And
You saw this in the theaters?
I got brought into
What kind of a theater? That's what I'm
my
wondering.
wife brought me.
See, what you don't know, this is actually his 90th time seeing this movie.
This movie made the whole franchise made $1 billion practically. Like, that's crazy. Like, how? Like, I was thinking, like, that's like a Twilight, Star Wars type thing. How did this get up there? And I honestly piqued my interest to, like, let's break apart this film, all 4 of us, and let's just see is the juice worth the squeeze? And I'm definitely letting you guys know, I don't think it was watching this
The
movie.
squeeze.
Like,
And just to clarify, all 3 movies combined made $1 billion,
the
not
franchise.
one.
The franchise, all together.
The
But
franchise,
still,
yeah.
Still, I mean, that's a shit.
That's a
That's a
shit
lot of money.
number.
I'm just qualifying. I'm qualifying a
movies.
little bit because it's like, I mean, it's not like this movie did $1 billion by itself.
This movie was the best out of the 3 guys. This movie made $570 million worldwide. This was the best out of the 3. If you guys want to watch the other 2, I really tell you, hold on to your
Sean,
straps.
what do you think about that?
Hold on to
$500
hold on
million
to your
in
straps.
one movie.
I'm waiting for a plot. I mean, it's not look at. I am not against watching 2 and 3 if somebody tells me the plot. But if I'm going to go through and sit through a movie that's got 0 plot again for 2 more movies,
This
I'm not
time,
sure I wanna
Christian gets
engage in
hurt.
that.
That's all I can tell you. He gets hurt. There's actually no plot still.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same.
Fuck.
Well, if you don't know what we're talking about, We're talking about 2015's 50 Shades of Grey, which is not to be confused with 50 First Dates, which, God, I really wish it was. Now, this is an adaptation of the E.L. James best-selling...
I don't think anyone is making that mistake, Brandon. Anyone is making that great. No one's crossing that way.
Let me give you a little process into... Listen, Sean, I was in a dark place writing the script because I was like, God, I got to talk about this for an hour. I don't want to do that. So I went to a happier place, which is 50 First Dates, my favorite Adam Sandler movie. Anyway, 50 Shades of Grey. It's true. We can put that E50 in there. Is an adaptation of the E.L. James best-selling book series and is the first of the trilogy of films that includes 50 Shades Darker and 50 Shades Freed, respectively. This movie tells the story of Anastasia Steele, a quiet and mild college graduate who becomes the live-in sex-dungeon submissive to the uber-wealthy and uber-kinky Christian Grey. However, when things begin to move away from just physical pleasure and pain toward true love, both Anastasia and Christian need to decide when it is that they truly want, and what it is that they actually truly want. And by the way, I want you guys to know is I create the summaries of all these movies from scratch, and I feel like if I pitch that to a producer, that sounds really good. And then what you do is you get the movie that's pitched from there. But I really appreciate
more plot
that.
in this paragraph than in the entire
I feel really
movie.
Proud
Brandon.
of myself. Anyway, this movie, directed by Sam Taylor Johnson, stars Jamie Dornan as Christian Grey and the Jeremiah favorite Dakota Johnson, along with others. I don't even know. Yeah, God. 50 Shades of Grey has earned an IMDb rating of 4.2 out of 10, which I believe is about 5 points higher than it should be. And has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 25% with the critics and an audience score of 41%, which makes us wonder, what were those 25%
Luke Grimes is in it. I like Grimes. Luke Grimes, he's good.
The sex. He was in 4.5, maybe 3 minutes of the movie. Well, he was the best part. As with every review that we give, we try to pair our selection with a cocktail that we hope will enhance the viewing experience. Why don't you show us the drink that we will be enjoying?
Yes, Brandon, what was that word again that you told me? What's the safe word?
If we're going to go with
Fidelio.
Fiduciary.
No, the actual word with the M. It's you said it earlier.
Maraschino?
Yeah. Was that the one?
Cacao. There you go.
All right. Safe word. I understand it now. To celebrate this classic movie, cinematic marvel drink, we're drinking the BDSM. I don't know what that means. Look it up.
My
on
Google
the web.
search is now
bondage, domination, sadomasochism.
Just make sure you're around with the family when you look this up.
What?
BDSM. This strong-tasting cocktail is a shot that will make you feel like you're having ice cube rubbed all over your naked body. To make this drink, you'll need to pour half an ounce of dark. Sometimes, bro. Pour half an ounce. Of dark cacao liqueur into a shot glass. Next, use a bar spoon to layer half an ounce of maraschino liqueur on top of the cacao. Finally, carefully layer whipped cream on the top of the drink, and you can garnish it with a cherry, or you can down it straight away, however you like your foreplay.
That's on my Google search now.
You found this drink, huh? You definitely like this one.
I've been drinking this one for years.
Well, I feel like this is vastly more complicated than the movie itself. So,
good luck finding this. Good luck finding the cacao liqueur. Okay, good luck.
I have a couple of things. I have a couple of things that I want to start with about this movie, particularly that I found just so off-putting.
Just a couple things?
The first of which, I'm looking at it from a cinematic movie, and I thought cinematographically and some of the cinematography was very sexual, it was very cool. Like Christian Grey looked like a very cool, rich guy. My problem is with Dakota Johnson and believing that she was in college.
So who would have been better, Sean? Like Emma Watson?
Oh God! I'm glad she didn't do it because I don't want to spoil.
Realistically, better. Like, let's just pretend this movie had a plot.
Johnson just seems like she doesn't want to be there. There's no heart. There's no passion. There's nothing there. She's literally like doing an interview, and the first couple of sentences, you're just like, "Why are you?"
But see,
this?
I feel like this movie proves just how nepotistic, I guess, Hollywood is, because there's absolutely no reason on earth that anybody actually wants to see her. Like, I mean, she's getting by on her name alone, and I feel bad ripping her now 2 weeks in a row because that's what we did last week too with El Royale. But
maybe she's just a bad actress.
But here's the worst thing. I'm gonna be super mean. I'm gonna be super mean. I don't think it's that she's a bad actress. I think that she literally has no personality in life. I mean, I actually watched an interview just to see if she has any kind of spark of enthusiasm for living. Don't be in an industry where your job is to draw us into you if you can't draw people into you. I mean, that's a problem.
No, but the thing about Dakota is that every role is the same way that she plays each character.
It's flat.
It's just,
dumb.
it's just like, it's almost like she's trying to be like so cool to be in this movie. Just like
everything was bugging. Like there was no, you couldn't believe that she was this person that they're trying to make it out to believe. Like, oh, I'm covering for my friend, and these are the questions. And she was so like, sorry.
There's certain movies though, like if you look back at the history of cinema, and there's such chemistry between the leads where it's almost like the man or the woman is a drug and the other person is addicted to that person and can't get away from it. And that's what this movie should have had, is a complete infatuation addiction to Christian Grey, where you couldn't breathe when he walked into the room because he sucked up all the oxygen. You couldn't be in she was so intimidated by his very, just his very presence. That's what the movie needed. And she was snide and just like, there was the eye rolling scene, okay, when she's like, "Are you gonna roll your eyes again?" I'm like,
here's the thing. But on that note, though,
I'm sorry, it was just so bad.
On that point, which I think is a great point, and I was thinking this for literally 2 hours long, because Ed, it's a long fucking movie that you had us watch.
It was a long movie.
But what about her attracted him? It's not her innocence. It's not this idea of corrupting this. It's not her virtue. Like, what would make Christian have, because I do feel, not that Jamie Dornan's a good actor, I don't know him enough to say yay or nay, but here's the thing. He was infatuated. He was obsessed with her, but why? And we have to have some indication of why it was. Jerry, you got an answer for me?
I do have an answer for you. This book was actually a Twilight fan fiction type of a story, okay? It's literally the same book as Twilight. All you had to do is change the character from Christian to Edward and to Bella to Anastasia.
Do you know the story of how? I've got the whole backstory if you want to hear it.
Oh, okay. Give me the backstory.
So,
give me the backstory, please.
So E.L. James decided that she was going to do fan fiction. So she wrote an entire novel of fan fiction on Twilight, and she published it up on free.
Okay, so it's
100% Twilight.
Twilight.
So she published it up online, and I can't I'll find it. But anyway, her like pen name was Snow Dragon Ice Queen or something like that. Anyway, so people started literally going, she started getting all these comments on her free book online that had Bella and Edward, and then she's like, "Ooh, you know what? Maybe I should change this." And then so she went out and changed it. And I think that she's like self-published it as 50 Shades. And then all of a sudden she got a book deal and became one of the New York Times, people of the year. Like, but no, it was actually not like just mimicking. It was actually fan fiction that she just ended up changing the names. That's why it's set in Seattle. That's why she's the entire thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to what I was saying though, like I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that, but no, because I was just doing some research, and I was thinking about Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, or Julia Roberts and Richard Gere in Pretty Woman. You felt the heat between the characters, and this just
even Kristen Stewart, I don't mean to
like keep harping on this.
Robert Patterson, like you felt. Dude, there was more connection.
Oh, there was fucking heat there for sure.
Yeah.
And then the one that really got me was, I mean, I remember watching the Academy Awards performance from A Star Is Born, where Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga sang their song. There was more heat on that Oscar stage. Mm-hmm. There was more intensity than in this whole freaking movie. And I get very frustrating when I remember when this was cast, and Jamie Dornan was on a great show. At that time, it was a great show. It's called Once Upon a Time. And he was so good. He was the actor, and he basically left that show in the lurch, which really went downhill after he left.
I thought he was in that,
But he left that show in order to do this movie. And it's like, you asked who to be in this movie. Anyone else? They felt so
there was
uncomfortable.
a big uprising of Henry Cavill, is what all. I mean, I think there was a petition to have him in it, Henry Cavill, and honestly, I would have been okay with that. Like, the idea of that would have been cool with me. Like, just, you needed somebody at that level in order for this movie with a horrible story writing and no plot. You needed somebody with that
you have
name.
to have somebody to bounce off of.
I agree. So they failed tremendously with just their casting, I felt like.
I think Charlie Hunnam was supposed to be the main actor. He was actually signed to the movie, Charlie Hunnam. From
I'm glad.
Sons of Anarchy.
I'm sort of glad he backed out.
I'm so happy.
I really like him,
but
I want to just mention something though,
right.
because and I was really. Listen, I knew that I wasn't going to like this movie, but I tried to go in clear-headed, and then I ended up hating it way more than I thought. But I was trying to look at it, not scientifically, but I was trying to look at it, holistically. And yes, we can rip apart Dakota Johnson's performance, and we should continue to. But my problem with this movie is, even if you had two A-level actors and actresses who can act and who want to be there, the quality of the writing, and I'm not saying the directing, I think Sam Taylor Johnson did a good job. I thought cinematographically, like that shot with the sex dungeon, is the red with everything. It was a beautiful. It was
music,
beautiful. Danny Elfman, the shit out of this.
Definitely, yeah.
But here's the thing: is the writing was so stagnant. How sometimes we've talked about this in the past, is that you can have great actors not come through like they should because the writing is bad. Well, here's a perfect storm of bad writing and bad acting. And honestly, all I could think of is how much I wish to God this could be Mystery Science Theatered, because I feel like this is the type of movie that you just sit there and there's not enough time to talk shit about the movie as you're watching it, you know?
So the other aspect of that's missing is in the lead man, in Jamie Dornan. He isn't strong. He isn't commanding. He's kind of a little bitch. He doesn't really. I mean, honestly,
I'm sorry.
No, and I like him as an actor. I have seen him. He was just in Haunting in Venice, probably last year.
Yeah,
which is the third Hercule Poirot. He was
Jeremiah.
wonderful.
That's what you're doing,
but my point is that he was not commanding of the screen, and it almost requires a chauvinistic asshole type character that isn't overtly chauvinistic to be in this role. Someone like a Christian Bale, for instance, I think would have pulled it off with he's got some joie de vivre to him. He's got a little dark side. Right. I feel like I agree. What E.L. Wood, or what's her name? What's the author's name? E.L. James and the scriptwriter did was they pulled all personality out of character and inserted, I'm a dom. And it's like, I don't like to be touched, and I don't like to. His character was so one dimensional. He was dominant. He didn't like to be touched. He didn't like to sleep with him. And by the way, he's a billionaire. Was it really ever discussed how he earned his billions? How he became who he is? Like, was he a savage businessman?
His day-to-day work life would have been nice. Just something to say, hey, what do you do?
Right.
And I think, and listen, I'm going to try to devil's advocate a little bit, which is hard. And I think that's the whole purpose of this series. And Eddie, you apparently have seen the other two, so maybe you can tell me, is this idea that she changes him and then he finds love and becomes a more normal person. I get that. But the problem is, Sean, what I'm saying is, you're right.
It's so fucking
listen, I'm trying to agree with you, Sean, is this.
I'm sorry.
But here's the thing is that...
yes, Brandon, sorry.
No, it's this idea that never once, from moment one, he is never in control. She is always in control. And if you're doing a movie where it's flipping things, right, over the course of 3 movies, which they knew going in, this was going to be a trilogy, they need to show the initial foundation of him being that in control so that we can see him being changed. She's the dom, maybe not in the spanking chamber, but she's the dom the entire time. And I guess maybe that's the whole thing, is that he needs that. He wants to be controlled. I don't know, but it's just not set up well.
Well, the problem is that there's nothing that holds up to the movie. There's no chemistry, right? Now, like, this was supposed to be all hype when this movie came out, right? From my understanding, like, it was
so
supposed to be
that Eddie
the most
got a
erotic film.
even Mrs. Robinson, even somebody who was supposed to be Mrs. Robinson, like the people were saying, oh, it should be Nicole Kidman, like that style, like.
And it's seriously, it's what makes me really upset, and I'll leave this alone, is that like the story is like, oh, this girl is going to change this fucking guy. What a fucking horrible message is to like, oh yeah, you know, get it fucking abused and shit like that so you can prove to this guy and shit.
Yeah,
what the fuck is that all about?
I mean, she doesn't sign the contract, but she allows it.
This is, if you made this movie today, this would be a horror movie than a fucking like exotic movie, dude.
That's what I said to Brandon over text. I said, so basically the plot is boy meets girl, girl meets boy abuses girl consents kind of to it, then gets mad at the end and leaves. Like that's all that happens.
We gotta say it now, is that she gets mad about the thing. Like here's
about the fact that he's
here's
a dom.
the thing is like she doesn't understand what just happened the last hour and 40 minutes of the movie. Right? Or the last 2 months of their relationship. Like she goes in, she read the fucking contract so well that she's creating edits to it. I mean, she literally is like, ooh, we're not going to do this and we're not going to do this. She knows what she's going into.
The contract scene was so horrible. It was like, that was supposed to be foreplay? Yeah. Like, was everyone supposed to be like, oh my God, that's so sexy. Oh
like,
my
are we
God,
supposed to
they're
laugh?
reading the contract together.
Because I mean, honestly, I didn't laugh. It wasn't funny and it wasn't awkward. It was just shit.
You laugh because it's like, that was horrible. Like, who the fuck wrote that? Like no. So going back to the book, because I did anyone read the books by chance?
No.
Okay, so
what? Wait, Jeremiah, what?
My wife Celine, she read the first book, and she's just like, the book was way worse. Like it was like intense,
like graphic.
Like very graphic, more detailed. They like held back the movie, but she said they failed definitely with the casting because it didn't hit anything. And overall, she looks back at it now. She says, I have no idea why that was such a hit at that time. Because nowadays, I don't think that would be. It's like those old. You ever see those old romantic novels like your mom maybe used to read?
Yeah, like the swoon novels,
Fabio,
like what was Nora something was Nora something Nora Roberts. Yeah.
No, what's funny is Hannah's the one who actually read the first two books, and she tried to push through because Hannah's just like Sean, like she's gonna start something, she's gonna fucking go all the way through and read the whole thing. No. She read the first part of the third book, and she's like, I couldn't even complete it. It was that fucking bad. I mean, all the books were bad. This was horrible shit, dude.
And I love the ability to create sensuality in literature. I think that a lot of things have done it well. But I'm looking back at movies, right, in my head, and it's like, okay, Thomas Crown Affair is indulged in my mind as one of the most graphic sex scenes between Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo that I can remember as a kid. That was the one that was just like the first one that was like, holy shit. But then I remember Eyes Wide Shut was supposed to be this kinky erotic movie. Oh, it was okay. Like, it wasn't anything that crazy. I'm looking at these sex scenes and they just seemed so tame. Mm-hmm. Hold your hands up, you know, and then like bind your, like, it just, I don't know. It just seemed like they romanticized abuse as opposed to made it something that was like to me, this movie could have gone, you could have had such a great, like, she escapes him. She gets lured into his nest of sexuality and then tries to escape, and he keeps coming after her. And like, there's a whole plot there that they could have explored and not this like uneven thing. I don't know.
Dude, here's two things here. One, if this guy wasn't a billionaire and it was just a regular Joe,
it's silent.
And if it was made today, it would be like an episode of Law and Order.
Black Snake Moan.
It's Black Snake Moan. That's what it would be, D. That's what it would be. The second thing is that even like people that are into BDSM and everything like that,
which is fine.
Totally great, listeners. Go do it if that's your into.
Even the people there's like a group of the BDSM, like there's a network or something like that. Even they had issues with this movie, from my understanding, because what Christian Grey represent is completely the opposite of what that is, you know, that whole lifestyle and how you're supposed to practice and everything like that. It is completely wrong, where he is just like, you know, dominant and controlling her more than anything. And it's just, it's completely left field on that.
this is someone who I think did no research. She knows nothing about this proclivity, and everything that I read, because I did a little deep dive because I was curious about who's actually in control. And from everything that I read, it's the submissive who is submitting to having this stuff being done. It's not that this other person wants to do it to them. It's sadomasochism. One of them is a sadist, one of them is a masochist. One of them likes to inflict, one of them likes to receive. It's not an uneven, unbalanced
and here's
relationship.
What we get, Sean,
and
is that he is, and maybe this is where the books go way more graphic, and I'm not asking for this because thank God it didn't go there, but at the same time, dragging a feather down somebody who's tied up, like that's weird and messed up and everything, but at the same time, we never see his enjoyment of it. We never see him. I'm not saying getting off, but like we don't see his sadist proclivity. I don't know if that's what you're saying.
We
don't see his pleasure, and I feel like that really confuses things.
No, I say the whole dynamic from which it started was disingenuous to the fetish.
How was this a part of pop culture?
That's what I was
like.
I'll tell you exactly how.
Just explain it to me, because I'm reading that 50 Shades of Grey sold more than 100 million copies worldwide.
That's why I picked this movie.
That is more between Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows and the Twilight series.
This is the first piece of material that is mainstream that has been directed at that group of people, and everyone, it was their dirty little secret. It was their dirty little pleasure. It was like ordering fries with lunch. I mean, they made a whole book club movie about it with
Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda, where this was like something that kind of explore. It was the 200, 500 pages, however long the monstrosity is, and they could indulge in a little bit of excitement and a little bit of fantasy, and then it was over.
Well, here's something fun too: is that E.L. James was such a one-trick pony writer that she wrote this trilogy, and then she wrote another trilogy of the same story, but from Christian's perspective, which I can't wait to
quote unquote story.
Cannot wait to read those books and get that movie.
You write it to a writer right there? That's some hardcore bashing.
So no, wait. So she's literally doing the same thing as the Twilight writer, because the Twilight writer wrote something about Edward's perspective. Oh, God, what a...
And she's making so much money.
It's fucking,
but Stephanie Meyer has made millions of dollars, and she can't write her way out of a paper bag.
I don't think there's as many as fans nowadays, but I feel like there is still. She's trying to squeeze that juice, right? She wants every last dollar, and she has some fans. She might still have some fans of 50 Shades of Grey, right? So my question. So I wanted to throw this out, that when this was in the height before the movie came out. I joked on social media of, I heard who the actor's going to be for Christian Grey, and I seriously picked a name. I said Jim Carrey. I heard is going to be the actor for Christian Grey. I got so much bashing and heat from everyone I knew on social media, and like I had to was like, oh my God, 30 replies saying I'm a dick. Don't ever say that. That's not him. So I realized there's this romance that I feel like that it was targeting towards a group of a population that was just like, oh, okay, I see what's going on now. Like there's this, everyone wanted certain people to be Christian Grey, and I was just joking. It's not Jim Carrey. I'm sorry, everyone.
No, so going back, because I think that the topic that we're exploring just a minute ago, there's so many double entendres, but the topic we're exploring here about the content, the original book content, E.L. James' original book, I think is interesting, because if you look at it, a couple of years ago, we had E.L. James was the big author, right? And among others, like, Colleen, or Suzanne Collins, and what's her name from whatever, right? So she was the big popular thing. And then she kind of died away. And over the last 3 years, there is one name that is dominating the shit out of pop culture, especially fiction. I wish it was me. You guys should go buy my book. But anyway, it's Colleen Hoover. right? And if you don't know Colleen Hoover, her big book was Verity. And granted, Verity is a terrible story, but here's the thing that it's different, is it has a story. If you look at Colleen Hoover, she's got 2 or 3 books being adapted into film, including Verity, including It Ends With Us or It Starts With Us. And Blake Lively is producing and starring in that. You know, and I hate to say it, but Colleen Hoover does it better, is that literally just the quality of writing and the quality of storytelling of E.L. James and the 50 Shades just seems to be lacking. It just is. Here's E.L. James was the first one. She was the first one to make it popular.
I'm just trying to figure out where's the love story in this movie, and if you're trying to look for a love story, this is not a love story. This
Christian
is a person
Grey
that,
leather.
yeah, you know, just come on, dude. You know, it's just like, it should be like 50 Shades of a Red Flag. I mean, there's like so many fucking problems of this movie, like, or so many problems of this story, dude. It's just like,
didn't at all. Just to let you know, I'm not saying go watch it, but I'm saying the other ones, you go more into that the love side. It seems like this movie, like Christian Grey was abused himself growing up, right? And he had no idea how to handle it, so he just became the abuser after he was taught all these things that he thought was okay. Which it's just like, so he doesn't know what love is, and he found someone he really liked, which that feel like they just missed the mark completely on trying to express that and show that correctly on film. He was too quiet, and I didn't believe at any time like I did see what you're saying. Oh, it looked like he didn't enjoy it or he didn't like it. Maybe that was on purpose though. Yeah. Maybe because he really didn't enjoy it. Maybe this is the only life he knew. Like he doesn't know any other life. So he doesn't know the romance life. So see it through those eyes of like, hey, this is the only way he knows to have a relationship.
I want to say something positive about this topic. Okay, so if you want to go and watch something that is light and airy but really does explore the topic of BDSM, there is a show on Netflix called Bonding, and it is a mixture of comedy and understanding this culture, and it is really funny, charming, and kind of interesting how they approach it. And I found that way more interesting.
Look at Sean going above and beyond. This is why he's the host, everybody. It's because he does background research. He does his homework.
Well, because I was wondering if this is I was wondering if this particular topic is going to permeate more of pop culture. So I've seen, like, I don't know, my favorite movies are the ones where the clothes are on the floor and off-site you hear, you know, couples kissing.
Bed squeaking.
And then all of a sudden they wake up and they wake up the next morning. I don't like graphic sex scenes. I don't like that part of movies necessarily. I don't mind a little lovemaking, but I don't want to see
both sides.
We wanted Jamie Dornan full frontal Congress. Is what we're saying.
Yeah, I just don't want that. I don't want full Congress. I think that there's way more things you could do sexually on screen than show everything.
It's more, I
right. That's a different genre.
I can give you an example for that, Sean. There's a scene which it kind of ended, but we don't really see it, but it was in Say Anything, right? It was with John Cusack, you know, and he's shivering up, you know, he's nervous and everything like that, you know, because he's feeling like, you know, like he's completely like vulnerable with that person. That is fucking amazing. You felt that there, you know. To me, it's just like the sex scene. It was just not even. It was just like all butts and, you know, whatever, you know. Dicks.
It was. They were boring. Checking a box. I really feel like Sam Taylor Johnson was checking a box, saying, "Okay, we've got our X number quota of sex scenes." Like there was no. I'm going to say there's no rhyme and reason for it. Like, and here's the thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm trying to think right now, but there are some ways to film human bodies, and I personally. Show it, don't show it. I think that it's a beautiful union between two people. I really do. But here's the thing. This was not sensual. It seemed, and I do think it was the acting, but I also think it was the directing in this. It was not sensual. It seemed obligatory. It seemed like they were literally, like I said, checking the box, saying, ooh, we need to have, like I could see them storyboarding. We need to have this shot because we need to have this shot. We need to have this shot because we need to have this shot. Instead of, hey, let's let this explore in a more natural, realistic way. And so, you know, along with Dakota Johnson's stunted acting, I think that we got stunted sex scenes that didn't do anything but hurt the movie overall.
it became lackluster right away.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's films I kind of want to draw attention to, and I think the first is Pearl Harbor. There's a beautiful scene between Josh Hartnett and I think it was Kate Beckinsale, and they're in the place where all of the
I like Kate Beckinsale too.
the parachutes are, and they just came in from like a midnight flight, and it's beautiful and sensual, and there's such love between them. It's so beautiful. So I will ask you this, because
here it comes.
This is the podcast for
I've got an answer.
Best sex scene in a movie.
I got it.
Best sex scene in a movie.
I'm being 100% serious. I know that this is one that a lot of people go to, but this was, Sean, you were talking about your first kind of foray into foreplay on screen. Titanic. 100%. Titanic was central. And guess what? We don't see a single.
You bastard.
We don't see a single.
With that hand.
I'm talking about
that
the hand.
That
no,
hand.
But I'm being 100%. That was. But no, I'm sitting in a theater. That was my first time seeing a sex scene all the way through without my mom shoving a pillow in my face and humming a song so that I wouldn't hear or see anything. But I'm sitting there in the theater and I'm going, "Oh my God, this is going to happen to me someday." No, but at the same time, that was so sensual. That was still so sexual. It was so beautiful. I felt
the music too.
Their relationship, and I think that I will forever say that is the best sex scene, hands down, of any film. So I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Jeremiah.
My favorite sex scene, what comes and pops in my mind actually, is the sex scene on the train on Risky Business. It is 100% passionate. Just two people just
Risky
going
Business
for the moment at that point. And it's like the music is just unbelievable, and it's no nudity or anything else for it. There's a lot of nudity in the movie, but there's nothing there. But it's so full of passion and it's so fucking badass. And the direction
Before
is
Ed
so cool.
and Sean go, I just want to, the two of ours. I don't know what you guys are going to say, but the two of ours, it's not about what we see, but it's about what we feel. It's about the experience between the two lovers. And I think that's, at least for me, that's the connection I want. If they want to show it graphically, that's fine. But we need to have that relationship that's actually there. So yeah, absolutely. Eddie, what do you think?
Bro, what's yours?
So
you're fucking Googling it, aren't you?
One of the movies we did. Actually, we've done both movies. Thinking about it now, can you guys guess the movies we've done? And
give me a hint.
One of them has Demi Moore in it.
Ghost. I was going to say Ghost was
Ghost.
pretty
that's
great
a good one.
And
That's a good one.
I don't know if actually it was a set scene, but it looked like they were leading to it. I thought it was kind of cool, and that's why I thought like keep it mysterious. But it was Armageddon. With Liv Tyler and Ben. Yeah, Ben.
With the animal crackers.
Yes. Great, bro. That was stuff like
Jeremiah,
that was awesome.
I know we don't like the movie, but that was a great scene.
Yes, right. Right. I just those are the two ones that stand out to me. On this channel, right? It's hilarious, but it's funny. It's like
I find myself torn because the first from Goldfinger, and I remember they had a love scene where basically Sean Connery and this girl were having champagne and they had sex, and then he leaves the room and he comes back and she's completely painted in gold. Her whole body is painted in gold. She's laying in the bed. And I remember that just being just one of the most incredible scenes ever. And then I remember the one from Here to Eternity, which probably none of you have ever seen, but they're on the beach and the water's coming up, and it's just like,
yeah. But I think it's interesting, right? Look at all four of our selections, and we're all guys. It's not about the skin, right? It's not. It's about the characters coming together for a purpose. And I think that if you were to ask,
right,
I think if you were to do a bigger poll, I think that more people than not would probably pick the sex scenes that stay clothed or are, tastefully done rather than something that's just I mean, listen, porn's there and porn's for its own reason, but I don't think you need to mix the two of cinema and porn, right? And I think that it detracts from the story, it detracts from the characters.
So I remember watching this movie. I mean, I was married for 1 year, right? And I was like, okay, my wife said, "Oh, come with me to watch this movie." It was like awkward I'm like, am I supposed to just be watching this? Like, there's a lot of set scenes here, babe. Like, what the hell did you bring me to? Like, what? I had no idea what the movie was. I was like, what are we watching here, sweetheart?
I'm kind of curious. What was the audience? What was the vibe like in the theaters?
It became very like, ooh, like,
was people laughing or people just like
quiet and just it almost seemed like you're watching a set scene with your parents. So like just like, oh god.
Oh my god.
This movie.
That's the worst feeling ever.
I'm just like, I don't want to look left or right. I'm just keeping my eyes straight and just like, God, I hope this gets over fast.
There's a movie called Hope Springs, okay? Don't ever see it with your parents or your grandparents. But I was in the theater with my mother, my sister, and both sets of grandparents. Both sets.
You're in the middle.
And it was the most horrid 30 seconds of my life. The scene was horrible. It was so uncomfortable. And my grandpa, I'll never forget when he goes, "What the hell is going on up there?"
Oh god.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Oh anyway. My god, dude. Yeah, dude. I for whatever reason, dude, like this movie, you know, it has a style. I mean, look, it was number 2 on Netflix when it debuted again in Netflix, you know. So there's people out there that are just like, oh my god, let's return back to Christian Grey and everything like that. But fuck, you know. Damn, guys. You know, what the fuck? Did I miss the train on this one?
Listen.
I don't think you missed the train. I mean, you watched it now. You've caught yourself up. So you saw everything.
Okay.
It's just awkward watching the movie. And watching this movie alone, too, is just like, God, am I dirty watching this movie alone right now? Like, I'm just trying to get...
I did. I felt dirty.
I'm not going to lie. I've had to fast forward through at least 30% of the sex scenes because I was just like, all right, we get it. All right, we get it. We get it. We get it. Okay.
That brings us to the end of our review. Now it's time of the podcast where each of the hosts provides his score on the following scale. Mr. Gray,
Elliot.
The brother.
He was way better. Yeah, he was more fun, lifted, and just a good guy.
He was just cool. He was a nice guy. Unless he's an asshole on part 2 and part 3.
Zero, the perfect movie.
We shall never know.
Yeah. I thought I could actually go through my whole life not watching this fucking movie.
You remember when you said, remember when you said I like to finish things? I'll leave this one hanging. This will be a dangler. Forevermore, a dangler. I will not finish.
Zero, the perfect movie. You'll need shit to enjoy it. 1, a feel good first cocktail. 2, a happy buzz. Should I even move on? I mean, we're around there, right, guys? 3, Uber lifting home. 4, rough money watch of shame. 5, blackout, shit face, spring break drunk. And 6, god awful, horrible. All right, guys. I mean, let's not be too hard on this movie, guys, okay?
I think we're going to be realistic.
Could this be the first? Could this be the first on the other side of the train?
Like,
anything.
Okay.
I'm trying to type in something that's like, it's just wrong. It's wrong to type in anything besides one number. Like,
actually, I don't know about that one, dude. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
We couldn't do that. We said we couldn't do that. I would have done 6.9 just to make it.
No, you can't go above 5. You can't go above 5.
969.
5.75.
Okay, guys, you guys go first.
I'll go. I will go. Jeremiah, you go for it, Jer.
Listen, guys. Okay. I thought this is one of the worst acting movies I've ever seen, worst writing movies I've ever seen. This movie was so fucking boring. There was no passionate. There was no chemistry. It was just, it's 50 Shades. I don't give a fuck, dude. Listen, I'm so upset that I had to see this movie. Like, I could have gone my whole life without seeing this movie. I will never get that 2 hours and change back my life, dude.
Now you know.
Eddie, I appreciate the sacrifice that you had to go through watching these 3 movies. Listen, audience, this is a fucking shit fucking film. I will watch this movie for you guys so you don't have to watch it ever again, okay? This is a 5.5, okay?
Brandon.
Number one, I'm really, really pissed. Not because I had to watch this movie, but because I said, can we vote? Can we rate above a 5? And I heard, no, 5. Anyway, so I'm going to just go ahead and get it out of the way now. I just gave a 5, straight up 5, which Jer, I hear what you're saying, because there are some movies that I have given 5s to, Die Hard and Halloween, that are fantastic next to this film. So I just feel like we can't really put them on the same par. So if I had my own way, it would be
no. You just need to score better.
No, I'm trying to be nice to Halloween. I'm trying to be nice to Halloween.
Time. Mine is just a joke. It's a fucking 5.
We're
but I just hate it so much. I just want to write 5.5.
I'm giving it a 5. I wish I could give it a 12, because here's the thing. I literally went through my brain catalog of all the movies I've seen and all the horrible movies that I've ever seen. Mummy 3 stands out absolutely, where I say, walk out of the theater, I'll finish a movie, and I'm like, wow, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. Nothing, just like a Sinead O'Connor song, nothing compares to this film. It's actually a Prince song, but you know what? She did it better. And you know what? What's his name? Cordell did it fantastic. But let's go past that. Listen, no, but I'm saying this film takes bad filmmaking to an absolute new level. The fact that this got not only approved, the script got approved, but the fact that producers saw the final cut and were like, yep, let's go with it, that says a whole lot. And the fact that, that this is an over $1 billion film franchise says a lot about people's tastes, and the fact that that we are moving away from cinema. I think that it's because of absolute dog shit, trailer dumpster fire fucking shit like this. And that makes me upset. So let's go with dominant host.
So I think that one of the problems with showing on screen is that it takes away the mystery and the anticipation. And as we all know from watching Star Wars for the last 45 years, the anticipation is the best part. What could be is the best part. What may be hiding under that storyline or what may be there is far better than actually seeing and watching what is put on screen. And this movie suffers from, we're just going to put it on screen and let everyone look at it. And then you go, oh, it's really not that good. I spent probably 12 minutes abusing Parasite as one of the most abusive, worst films I've ever seen in my life. I gave it the worst score I've ever given anything except for, I think, To All the Boys I Loved Before, which I spent equally amount of time abusing. This movie is not worth it. It is not worth your time. It is not worth watching. It is not worth putting on Netflix at all. For me, this is a 5.75. It is the worst movie that we have reviewed, and indeed, likely the worst movie I have ever seen, and I've seen Plan 9 from Outer Space. So saying.
I think I'm on track to give it the best score of the four of us, which makes me really sad.
I would rather watch Plan 9 from Outer Space 1 billion times than watch this movie again. Ed.
All right, guys. I think you guys all missed the mark with this movie. I'm playing.
Fuck.
So, this was an experience. And that's all I can just say. I am happy I gave you all the experience that I was hoping for. I had to bear through 3 of these movies, and I had to finally get back what I deserved and get some other people, some of the train wreck of this movie it gave. The music maybe was all right. Like, I don't know. Like
the Weekend,
maybe the font of the when they say Christian 50 Shades of Grey, the font of the when the movie came out.
It's not papyrus, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, the best part about these other movies that you grow up watching, like it's the mysterious of it. Like how Sean was saying, like Star Wars, and it's the build up, and it's like. So this movie, I'm not a fan of movies like these. Like it became, there's no plot, there's no story, and that's how the next 2 movies are after this. Besides Christian Grey getting hurt in a plane accident, like
what?
That was it.
He gets in an accident.
I know, but he's recovering. He's recovering.
Wait, so now we got to focus more on Dakota Johnson?
And then they buy a house, and I don't know what happens, but
oh my god!
Yeah, so it is what it is. I do appreciate everyone watching this movie. For me, though, this is I'm gonna rate this really, really good. I'm gonna rate this as blackout, shit face, spring break drunk. It's a 5, guys.
Andy, we voted it the best.
We voted it the best. Yeah,
unanimously a 5.
Yes.
This is where
this
it belongs.
is probably one
Anyway,
the first. And it's good to see both sides.
That's where it should be.
Yes, it's good to have both sides of the scale. We need to touch
Saving
some
Private
shitty
Ryan,
movies.
it's not.
There you go.
So when we combine those scores and divide by 4, what does 50 Shades of Grey get an average rating of?
We might get some bashing from people who like this movie, but I can't wait for the comments.
Do they exist?
5.3125. That's 5.3125.
Ooh, can I say it, Sean? Can I say it? Jer.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Where does that put us on the list? What's worse than this film, and what's better?
Well, that's the thing, Brandon. There is no worse or anything. This is the worst movie that we have reviewed
Collective round
on
of applause.
3.5 Gentlemen.
You're welcome.
It is the bottom of the barrel, the scum of the fucking earth of the movies.
What's
Hocus
the second
Pocus.
worst?
No.
No.
Great Gatsby. Great Gatsby.
Focus.
Sorry, Hocus Pocus 2
No
Bullshit.
is the worst.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
At what?
Yes.
I will even say that Hocus Pocus 2 is Casablanca.
What's Hocus
compared
Pocus
to-
I agree with you.
Hocus Pocus 2 is
100%.
worse than the Gatsby? I thought Gatsby was her bottom.
It's a 4.
Okay, Gatsby.
Really?
Okay, that was the worst. Hocus Pocus 2 was a 4.56. That stood there for almost a year
Yeah, I know.
until tonight. 50 Shades of Grey has actually beaten that.
Where's to all
5.31.
the
It
boys
is
I loved
the worst
before?
movie. Oh, that is actually a classic of ours. That's in the 2, I believe.
This is fucking
No
two.
thanks for Sean.
I swear
by the
to
way.
God, no thanks to me. You guys rated it without even
3.1. I'm
God.
sorry. It's a 3. It's a 3.1. Which, you know what, Sean? It is Casablanca.
How many
compared to that
movies,
film.
Ed, how many
No,
movies
it
do we
is.
have in the 4s?
Oh,
2.
5.
Just 2?
Two.
We
Oh,
need
yeah.
to watch some more worse
Yeah.
movies. We need to watch some more bad movies.
Hey, I'm surprised we have a movie like this, but god dang, that's some 2 hours and change. That's going to take a long time to get back.
It's hard to
So-
watch, man. It's hard to
Yes.
watch.
All right. Well, that
let's do
brings
this.
us to the end of our podcast episode, and it's time for one of our gentlemen to tell us which movie we're going to be watching and reviewing and hopefully liking just a little bit
50
better
Shades
next week.
Darker? 50 Shades Darker. Let's do
So-
50 Shades Darker.
Jeremiah,
You know
you've
what?
got the pick, and honestly, I feel like you could pick a movie just about like a clear plastic bag blowing along a gutter, and we'd like it more.
Jeremy could pick anything out there with his blindfolded, just a dart.
Throw a dart.
And it's going to be.
Throw a dart.
I'm actually going to go from a low standpoint because I don't care about none of these actors. None of them are like interesting. But I'm going to go on a different route because I think this is pretty cool that there's this person who's a conductor of this movie that has done over 400 and change of films. His name is Pete Anthony, right? And he's done so many conducting all these movies for Danny Elfman and through James Horner type of like favorite type of composers. So he's done this movie that I want to talk about because it's in perfect timing of the biggest movie of the year that's out right now, which is Deadpool & Wolverine. We're going to do Logan, our next movie for the podcast.
How the hell did you get to that? That's a thin line that you somehow got to that.
Well, bro, you didn't give me any chance
I'm
with this
excited.
wall 50 Shades of Grey, man.
So Logan, I
All
like
right,
it.
so Logan, Wolverine. We're
Logan.
going back to the Marvel universe, so thanks so much for bringing me back.
This is wait.
Brandon,
well,
This is not
this is
not
Fox.
Marvel. This
I
is
have-
this is
I have
20th
heard
Century
that
Fox.
shit from you guys before,
Marvel.
and I don't
Yeah,
trust
get
you.
Get your facts straight.
I give a Fox
Okay,
straight.
Brandon.
Brandon, this is the same company that made
I
Deadpool.
do
Right?
love me
Remember
some
that?
Deadpool.
Okay, Fox.
I
You
have a
know,
feeling
so
that you
that
might
was
like
your
this
favorite
one,
one.
Brandon.
I hope so, because I need something good.
I don't know, man. Brandon, it's very hard to figure out these
I
things.
have a
man.
feeling this is going to be one of our higher rated podcasts.
I think honestly it could be anything, and I feel like right now Brandon will probably be.
Beyond Cloud 12.
If you're a fan of our review, a fan of the podcast, we ask you please subscribe wherever you're listening. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes. You can also find us on Instagram at the.gentleman podcast. You can visit our website or you can reach out to us at hosts, HOSTS, at thegentlemanpodcast.com. And we just want to thank you all for listening and really sticking with us through this rather abysmal
Stay
movie.
kinky,
But
everybody.
next week should
Stay
be much
kinky.
better. I love it. Mr. Gray was to you now. What is that from, Fidelio? What is that from?
That's from Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, that's right.
You mentioned the movie today too.
I know, but I blocked that movie out of my brain because it was so.
What's the one with Tom Cruise and his face is all messed up?
No, it's Vanilla Sky, and it's one of the greatest
Yeah.
movies ever.
Vanilla Sky.